welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 296. We're going to take it down a notch.
Is it true that Eric Clapton wrote that song about the Knicks?
He did. It was right after the Knicks fell down the stairs and died.
Yeah, it was awkward. They were like, "That's a beautiful song about your son." No, it's about the Knicks. Oh, that sounds really bad, doesn't it? Yeah, it's about my son. So what's going on, Jay? Has anything happened in Knicks world? Because it couldn't have happened in Knicks world because wouldn't we have recorded it? But what's going on, Jay?
I was Tuesday. I was taking a finals, and
Yeah, well, hang on. The draft happened, right? The lottery,
apparently,
and you went to your final instead.
I know.
Instead of recording a show.
I did.
Wow. Some person does not have their. I don't know. You don't really seem to understand what's important in life.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of flack for that, actually.
You deserve that, actually.
So my phone was on and in my pocket, and it was buzzing the entire final because my final is from 8 to 10. And I was like, either something really good or really bad just happened.
But you're a Knicks fan. You know it can't be really good.
Exactly. The buzzing started a little too early, too.
Basically, you didn't actually watch it. I sat down and watched it because I'm a moron. But you generally know what happened. Did you watch a replay of it? Did you tape it and watch it again? Watch it after?
I didn't record it, but I saw a bunch of GIFs of Steve Mills' reaction.
Is it GIF? I always thought it was GIF.
I don't know what it is.
Like
we
peanut
pronounce
butter?
everything wrong, so...
So my wife was had something that night, so it was just me with the kids, and I was like, I have to get my kids down by 8:30 so I can watch this damn show. I'm like, read me another story. No, go to bed. It's like I get in front of the TV at like 8:31. I'm like so excited, and then I realize, oh, it's a half hour long. ESPN's going to milk this for the first 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Interview. I don't understand. They had the top draft picks being interviewed at the draft lottery. The weird thing is, after the lottery's over, they're still not on teams.
Right.
Like why do you force them to go to this to not end up on an NBA team? Like, Towns, glad you're here. Anyway, you're still not in the NBA. Bye. If you get injured anytime between now and the draft, no one's going to care about you, and everyone's going to pretend you didn't exist.
We got a couple live reactions, if you want to hear them.
Are they all people playing that Eric Clapton song?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sure, play them.
Our voicemail is 631-676-1181. Here is our first reaction.
Why? Okay.
You know what the worst part was? It was so they did it in reverse order, saying what team picked where, and it goes to form basically up to like you're getting to pick 5, and you're like, is it going to be the Knicks? You know, no one else has moved up above. No one else below 5 has moved up.
Right.
And you're like, 5. Who was 5? It was the
Orlando.
And you're like, wow, the Knicks aren't 5. Good things are possible. There's a chance that maybe we're reversing course. We're going 4 Knicks. Fuck.
Here's our second reaction.
October 2016. Pick number 5 goes to the Orlando Magic. This will be the Magic's 5th first-round pick.
Come on, baby.
2012.
Come on, baby.
And the 2015 NBA draft goes to the New York Knicks.
No!
Top 3.
No!
And then number 3.
The thing is, you knew it was coming. You knew we were going to be disappointed, yet it still was as infuriating as if you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
we switched with the Lakers. The goddamn Lakers get our pick.
why does everything always work out for the Lakers?
Could this seem any more rigged?
I mean, I guess if the Lakers got first.
I guess. But the whole thing is like, we can't draw the ping pong balls in front of you because the freaking lottery, like every night you turn in for the lottery drawing, the ping pong balls are in front of you.
It's the first time in 20 years that the worst team got the first pick, I think.
That is kind of surprising. But it was like, oh, we did the drawing off stage so you can't watch. Oh, that's kind of weird. But don't worry, we have someone from a major accounting firm who was watching that. Ooh, giant corporate accounting firm. I wonder if they, I'm sure they would never allow fraud. So that never happens in the real world. So, yeah, I'm totally think this is like legit.
What was
I mean, could it sound any more like? And if the Knicks had gotten a top pick, I would have said, "Who cares if it's shady?" But it did seem kind of shady, doesn't it?
a little bit. It's just frustrating.
I mean, I know I don't want to be conspiracy, but like, it just why wouldn't they just draw the ping pong balls in front of like? Why would they like have that not be off camera?
Isn't there like hundreds of different drawings or
Hundreds of different drawings?
Yeah, I think we got a message that said there's like they pull a lot.
I thought they just pull like one ball for the first pick, one ball for the next pick.
I don't know what they do. I don't know.
I mean, how could you make it less? Like you just put like there's no, it's not like a hard thing to do.
No, it's not.
I mean, there's no. This has to be off camera because people are going to be confused if they watch the ping pong ball come up and a team name on it. No one's going to understand how that works.
You know what this means?
What?
That win in game like 81 against Atlanta was what stopped us from getting the number one pick.
No, don't bullshit me, Jay. That win mattered. Without that win, we wouldn't be to where we are now.
Well, that was my second point. My second point is the bright side is that the 3 players we have under contract are now part of a winning atmosphere.
Who do we have under contract? We have Hardaway, we have Melo, and
Clay Anthony Early?
Sure.
Oh, no.
Wait, it's Galloway. Galloway's under contract, right?
It's semi-guaranteed, yeah. Partially guaranteed, and we have Calderon.
Sweet. Hey, should we cut to, you know what, Jay, actually, I have a guest for you that I know you want to talk about this. We have a million questions. We got iTunes reviews to read, and we're going to go through all this. And apparently the playoffs are going on also for some reason. But I know you want to debate this pick and like what's going on here. I'm going to cut to our special guest.
Okay.
Hi, Jay. This is Sir Duke Insider from ESPN. I've forgotten my first name and my accent from last week, and I'm here to talk to you about this pick. I've been listening to all that's going on with ESPN media and like the New York media about this pick, and I think I understand you're upset, and I wanted to come talk to you about this.
Are you going to write articles about why we're upset?
I have an article coming out. It was out already because you're doing your show way late. But the article was entitled, "The Knicks are not happy about getting the first pick. Not getting the first pick. Find out why." ESPN Insider.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Sir Duke Insider. Any pieces by Sir Insider? Can you call me Sir Insider, by the way?
Sure, Sir Insider.
Yeah, please do.
Are you going to write a follow-up article about why the Knicks fans are upset about not getting the second pick?
We're going to write a thorough analysis why by the time the Knicks pick, 3 players will be off the board.
Why are you here?
I thought you wanted to talk about why this is a bad thing for the Knicks.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Because here's the issue, Jay. You don't know that the number 1 pick will be better than the number 4 pick. So I don't see why you're upset.
Well, because there's 3 guys that pretty much everyone assumes are going to be good, and then after that, it's wild cards.
Listen, Jay, you don't know. Sometimes people think one guy's going to be good, and he's not good. Greg Oden wasn't good. Kevin Durant was good. You don't know how things are going to work out. So you can't be upset until you know how good the 4 pick actually works out to be. Maybe we're going to get the guy Phil Jackson was going to draft anyhow. So you don't know who Phil Jackson wanted.
So you think we should hold off on being upset for 4 to 5 years to see how it all plays out?
Exactly. You don't really know. And maybe whoever we draft is the guy who Phil wanted anyway, so it might work out perfectly. And what if the number 1 pick doesn't work out? Are you going to be upset we didn't get Towns if he's a bust?
Yeah.
You're going to be upset we didn't get a bust?
This is some weird logic that I can't wrap my head around right now.
No, listen to me, Jay.
He's not going to be a bust.
Well, you don't know.
I
We
know.
don't know. None of these players are earth-shattering. It's not like LeBron James or Michael Jordan were actually in the draft.
They were actually.
They weren't literally in the draft, Jay.
James was the number 1 pick, and Jordan.
No, in this draft.
Oh, in this draft. No, you're right about that. They were not in this draft.
Yeah, they were not in this draft, so you don't know. You don't know if these players are going to be good or not. We don't know any of this stuff. You don't know who Phil would have drafted. We don't know if this worked out perfectly for us. This may be the best thing that could have happened. So being upset without knowing what's going to happen in the future is kind of ridiculous, Jay.
You sound more like super Knicks fan rather than insider guy.
I am going to write a piece coming up why the Knicks fan should be optimistic that we are going to get a draft pick this year.
Well, I guess it is a better situation than next year.
Exactly. Why getting a draft pick is better than not getting one. Why getting the number 4 pick is a good thing if the number 4 pick ends up being a really good player.
You should also write one why getting the 4th pick is better than getting the 5th through 60th pick.
Well, then again, you don't know how good those players are going to be. What if the 60th pick ends up being great? You don't know these things, Jay. My article, I'm going to write an article about until we know how good the players are, we can't judge the draft positions.
So it's an article about nothing. You're the Seinfeld of writing articles.
No, Jay, we're going to thoroughly analyze that without knowing the future, you can't know the past.
So basically, you're writing yourself out of a job.
Well, no, you have to click Insider and pay money to get these articles. So as long as the money keeps coming in, ka-ching, because people want to know what the Insider thinks.
You got a nice little racket going there.
So I'm just saying, you don't know the 4 pick is worse than the 1st pick.
Sir Insider, I like how you wrote an article predicting who is going to draft whom before the actual draft lottery. So you just made stuff up. That was awesome.
Were we correct?
Who knows?
Well, we usually delete things that are incorrect off the site, so you can't go back and check.
Okay.
So we should have already deleted
You
that
should probably
article.
delete that one. I don't think you had Minnesota going first, so you should probably delete that.
There's still a chance Minnesota doesn't go first.
There's not, though.
We're going to write an article about how Minnesota may not still go first if Minnesota trades the pick ahead of time.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show.
Okay. Do I get paid?
No, I'm not clicking on your stupid page. You have millions of people to do that for you. You could take their money.
Okay. You think you would... I'm just going to ask something more of a focus group type of question. If we broke our articles out to 1 word per page, would you click each article? Would you keep clicking to get through the entire article? Like click for every word? And then we could remove the insider fee.
I would not, but I'm sure the people who are paying the insider fee would do that.
Okay, because it's like either pay the whatever the money is per month, or you have to click 1,000 times per article.
People love their page clicks.
Yes.
Rolling Stone did a top 500 and put 1 on every page.
Okay. So I'm going to write an article about why clicking is important to the internet.
Cool.
This will be a totally different non-ESPN article.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to go, Jay. I can't keep talking about this, Jay.
Yeah, we got to go to our next interview real quick.
Okay.
All right. Derrick Rose.
Hey, Jay, what's going on?
Well, you're not in the playoffs anymore, so I want
I
to talk
know.
to
How
you.
amazing is that? I tried my hardest.
You did. I know. You actually look like you were trying for a while.
Yes, it's tough to win when you don't care that much.
See, that's the problem. Last time we talked to you, you were trying to get a big contract by getting to the next round, and you didn't, but you tried. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I think they always say in life, I learned in kindergarten, trying is the most important thing. And I assume it'll be reflected when contract renewal comes that I tried. So, I mean, and the fact that I tried and got us extra vacation time, I feel like that's like a win-win.
You also played about 15 straight games without getting injured.
Yeah. Sometimes things don't go your way. I kept trying to get injured. I'd run into players. I'd run try to land funny on stuff. It's hard to injure yourself. You know that?
Yeah. A lot of players seem to have trouble doing that.
I've asked my opponents if they can grab my arm and yank it out like they did to Kevin Love. I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah,
but no one seemed to be willing to do that in the games.
You know what? First Celtics game next season, maybe you can do a little wink to Olenek.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I don't know. But I got the whole off season to relax, and then I probably will take some time off like November, December with whatever injury I have.
Cool. And then then you can start negotiating a new contract.
Yeah. You got to give the Bull. I mean, we Bulls fans, we're really close to winning it all. We practically won it all this season. If you bring me back, it's pretty much guaranteed. And if you're thinking, hey, maybe we give Derrick Rose a little less money so we can bring back Jimmy Butler. Butler's a racist. Get rid of him. He sucks.
All right. Thanks, Derek.
No problem. Later, dude. And by the way, Knicks, you know what? It doesn't matter whether you get the first pick or the fourth pick or the fifth pick. As long as the guy's injured, that's the best part. That's the part that really matters.
Words of wisdom from Derrick Rose.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, cool. If you need me to injure the guy, I could probably do a favor. Okay, later.
All right. That was our interview portion of the show.
I really was listening to New York like ESPN radio where they're like, oh, you don't really know who Phil even wants. So how do you know Phil doesn't want the guy that goes fourth? Or you don't know how good the guy's going to really be, so you don't even know what really matters.
Yeah, you might as well just pick 30th because you don't know.
You don't know. We don't know. And the other guy's like, yeah, but the Knicks' chances of getting a good player are lessened. Are they really? I mean, you don't know. All these good players have gone number 4. Yeah, but come on, this is a little worse for the Knicks. You don't know it is. You don't know who Phil wants. Yeah, we don't know with certainty, but what the fuck? Anyway, so should we trade the pick for
I'm sure that'll come up in the questions.
Who should we take? I wonder if anyone's going to ask that. Do you want to touch on the playoffs at all?
I hate watching LeBron games.
I hate watching James Harden. There's no one to watch.
Yeah. So let's really, really hope for a Golden State Atlanta finals.
I believe when you asked the Hawks about the series, so you think you can beat LeBron in Cleveland? We're just happy to be here.
We've
you
never.
Mean, what about beating them? We're just happy to be here.
We've never done a season of the show without LeBron making the finals.
And it's not going to happen this year because he's going to run over the Hawks.
I know.
J.R. Smith's on fire because Phil Jackson made Cleveland better. Wonderful. Couldn't you traded J.R. and Shumpert to any other team? You had to trade him to Cleveland.
Seriously.
James Harden, there was one play. Iguodala was guarding him. Harden, Iguodala just has his hands up. He does not move. Harden is dribbling, backing himself into him. He just throws his body at Iguodala and then throws his body again. They call a foul on Iguodala. And even the announcers were like, well, that doesn't really make sense, but a good play by James Harden.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult to watch.
I mean, and I watched I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I watched some of the highlights also. And you watch, there was one play I was watching where end of the third quarter, Harden's holding for the last shot, and he's dribbling. You're like, oh, it's 6-5. He's what's he doing? And then he drives to the basket, makes an amazing shot, and you're like, Harden's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're like, why does he have to draw these dumbass fouls and make him such a hateable player? Because he's really a talented player, obviously.
Because they call it.
But they call it and it makes it so frustrating. It makes me hate James Harden when he's a guy you should like because he's a very talented passer. He's a great scorer. He's a fun guy to watch, except for the fact that he makes the games painful to watch.
I don't hate him as much as I hate JR right now.
Oh, JR.
Thanks for setting franchise records on the other team and staying sober when you were basically hungover every playoff game for the Knicks. That's awesome.
I hope this means he shoots 1 for 20 next game.
I really do, too. I hope he shoots 1 for 20 and then punches a guy in the face.
I hope we find some. And the guy in the face is LeBron. LeBron like is out for the series. And he's like, oh, sorry,
because that's what he would have done on the Knicks. Stay consistent, folks. Let's get to one of our billion questions.
We have. Should we do the? Which question are you gonna do? You're gonna email? We have iTunes
emails.
reviews. I feel like we should read those.
Yeah,
we ask for those every week.
Yeah, let's break it up. We'll do emails, then iTunes, and then Twitter.
Sweet, go for it.
Lorenzo always writes funny emails. Holy crap, a comic book store just opened up in the little hick town that I live in. I walked in and looked around, and what happened next will blow you away. Just joking. But seriously, I did see a Deadpool comic that actually picked it up. Then I realized, like Mark, I don't give an F about comics and walked out. Bring on the draft lottery. I bought some Stance Sprewell socks today. They should be good luck. I just hope they don't choke off the circulation of my feet. Boom. So I guess they were not. Well, maybe they were good luck. Maybe we were going to get the 5th pick, and then you wore those socks, and now we got the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it is one better. We can now get one of those guards, and I'm sure we will talk about endlessly about who we should take. So go on.
The blow you away stuff was references to our comedy podcast, The Brink of Sanity. You could check that out on iTunes as well.
And Deadpool was a reference to a comic book character no one knows. Go on.
Hey guys, Mark, don't worry. I have no idea who Deadpool is either. Though I was intrigued about Iceman, who you also mentioned, but only because he's an accountant, as am I. I live in a small hick city called Wollongong, and I have an event calling up called Comic Con. Our take on comic.
Are you sure you're not ringing Brink emails on,
this is
on
a
the
Brink
Nick show?
email. This is a Brink email. We'll go to the next one. Noam writes, I saw this post in the New York Knicks subreddit, and this guy has some compelling arguments. What do you think? This is all arguments for Winslow, who is the same height as Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, taller than Tony Allen, 1 inch shorter than LeBron. He says he matches up with elite defenders. This is like a really, really long email, so I'm trying to just edit on the spot. Another notable trend in drafts is the amazing hit-miss factor. There are so many picks that are just straight busts. Sorry, Greg Oden, I'm looking at you. And there are a few straight jackpots. Hello, Kawhi and Jimmy Butler.
You think Greg Oden's ever like, yeah, I hope he's not a bust like me?
He's got to know he was a total bust.
Or does he go like, I hope he's not a bust like Oliver Candy?
He had some realistic draft situations. I think I could skip all the Karl-Anthony Towns and Okafor ones.
Yeah, I guess that. I guess discussing Anthony Towns versus Okafor was a complete waste of time.
Oh, that's what it said. Okay, he said realistic draft situations. If we draft first, it's Karl-Anthony Towns. 2 is Okafor. 3. This is where things get interesting. I think Moutier can succeed, but I also think he isn't the right fit for the triangle. I may be inclined to say that we draft Winslow here.
I'm kind of thinking the NBA is not the right fit for the triangle, but go on.
Winslow seems a little high for 3.
I feel like Winslow he sounds like the kind of guy we should draft. He performed really well in the tournament. He has elite defensive ability. He can guard. He can play the 3. He can play the 2. It seems like he can shoot. He could shoot the 3. He could be a guy that like we're supposed to draft and we're stupid for not drafting. Moutier seems to like the guy like everyone. He has the athletic and raw talent to like be like a higher ceiling. Played in China, not the best shooter. He may be a guy that's just never going to reach his potential, or maybe he'll be really good, but he's more of an unknown quantity.
I think there's a lot of unknowns after the top 3. So fourth pick, it says, "Please God, no, don't have to Knicks like this. It's been 40 plus years." So this was definitely written before the lottery.
Can I point out also when they were interviewing Moutier, the woman's like an ESPN reporter's like, "Oh, you're from you were born in Africa, you grew up here." Some people are calling you the dark horse, and I'm like, "You really meant to call the guy from Africa the dark horse? Is that really what you want to say?"
Yeah, seriously. And 5, take what we can get in the draft. Please do not trade this pick unless the offer is a godsend. Frankie writes, Steve Mills is representing the Knicks in the draft lottery. Is that a sign that we are definitely getting the 5th pick?
No, 4th pick. Why not like hire Patrick Ewing right before the draft and send him?
Yeah, bring some good karma to the franchise.
At least bring even Allen Houston would have made more sense than Mills.
John writes, okay, so I guess this could go on either show, but it's sports related, so I'll ask here. Let's say a basketball player goes undrafted, say someone like 7'5", 359 pounds, Sim Bueller. Mm-hmm. If Sim Bueller felt like Bruce Jenner at 22 years old, he would be eligible for the WNBA, right? What's to stop him from becoming the most dominant force the WNBA has ever seen? He would put up Wilt Chamberlain numbers over there. Can you imagine the dilemma of the NBA, WNBA trying to explain themselves legally if they tried to stop him? What do you think? And then he followed up with, given he went through with the surgery, of course.
I feel like the WNBA would be like, oh, no one watches us. This whole thing would be a giant controversy and we'd get ratings. Yeah, we're going to pretend to be against it, but we're all for it. I mean, wouldn't you watch? You suddenly would watch the WNBA.
I would be very curious. I definitely would.
I'm amazed anyone watches WNBA right now. I imagine the entire fan base are friends and family of actual players. Kind of like high school games.
I remember last summer I was so hard up for basketball, I actually watched the WNBA playoffs.
Oh, God.
It wasn't pretty.
But wouldn't you, if the Sim Bueller or whatever, I know that guy, like 7'5", giant. If he played in the WNBA, wouldn't you be like, I kind of want to watch this?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be and he put up or she put up 60 points a game. It'd be amazing.
It would be a very fun story.
She was just holding the ball up and no one can even get to it because no one can even jump that high. And she's like, I am dominant. Oh, and I got breasts. So, yeah, women's rights.
This is legal because I have breasts.
Yeah, I'm going to go fuck Bruce Jenner now.
John writes, if LeBron wins a championship in Cleveland this year and decides to leave again, would Cleveland kill him again? What do you think the backlash would be?
I feel like Cleveland is so hard up for a title. If he won the title and then left, they would be pissed at him. But I feel like everyone would be like, thanks for the title.
Yeah.
We don't hate you anymore.
They would be happy for a title.
Yeah, I think if he came to the Knicks for one season and then screwed it and left the Knicks, if you win the title and then leave, people are like Miami doesn't hate him.
Right. Yeah, they're like, thanks for the championship.
If he won 3 titles in Cleveland and then left, people would have been like, oh, well, that sucks you left, but still, it's that you didn't win anything in Cleveland and then you left the first time.
Right.
I'm hoping he comes back to Cleveland and only comes back he's only come back to show Cleveland how to lose in the finals.
I hope so, too.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful if there were people you would have it would be so great. People would be interviewing LeBron. LeBron, why did you forget how to win a title when you came back here? Why do you want to make Cleveland fans suffer even more, LeBron?
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Peter writes, at least it's not 5. Andrew writes, I can very safely assume that the show will be riddled with pessimism, disgust, and rage over the results of the draft lottery.
Yes.
And I couldn't sympathize anymore being true orange and blue fan since I was a child, but I'm not going to stroke this fire with this email. Instead, I want to try and talk out a most likely will not happen, but hey, you never know scenario that could be intriguing to think about ahead of the draft. This is where this email gets interesting. Sources say that Ricky Rubio's camp wants out of Minnesota based on a Spanish League website.
Based on the fact that it's cold there, no one wants to stay in Minnesota.
Right. Let's say this rumor gains traction and actually comes to fruition. Suddenly, Minnesota is a gaping hole at point guard position. It's not out of the question that Russell goes number 1 overall, especially if we're looking at a team that needs versus the best player available strategy.
Yeah,
Plus,
they already have a center.
Right. Pekovic is a wider body down low, and Towns and Okafor would have difficulty coexisting and competing minutes with him. So Russell's off the board. We go to the Lakers at number 2. They need help everywhere and take the best player available, otherwise known as Karl Anthony Towns. Now, this is where it gets interesting at number 3. It is well documented the Sixers are in desperate need of a point guard after trading Carter Williams. Their front court is loaded with young players like Embiid and Noel, so picking Okafor would be redundant. They would have no choice but to take the next best point guard prospect on the board, which is Moutier. So you see where this is going. We arrive at our number 4 pick. Russell, Towns, and Moutier off the board. Our prize awaits. The New York Knicks draft Okafor and usher in a new era of the franchise. Do I believe this will happen? Heck no. But you can't even tell me there isn't a slight, minuscule, razor-thin possibility that this could happen.
Here's the thing. This is also why I almost think the number 2 pick would be worse than number 4 pick. I really think Okafor is wrong for this team. And I feel like if we were picking number 2, Towns is going to go number 1. Minnesota's going to take Towns. And I feel like Okafor. I wonder about Okafor. I feel like he's going to be a very good player, but I feel like he's probably the guy who's going to least coexist with Carmelo.
I think he's going to be like an Al Jefferson. He's got really good post moves, but he doesn't really have much of a defensive presence, and he's not going to be like a game changer.
And with Carmelo, I mean, like Carmelo's already a post presence. He likes to play down low. Melo can shoot from the outside. It'd be helpful if this guy can like shoot from the outside, but he can't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think like he's also really a 4 more than anything. I don't know how well he goes. How well he's a complement to Melo, and you have to consider that at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, at least this way, if we pick 3, my ideal picks would be 1, obviously, or 3, because then 3 you're going to take one of the guards.
Right.
Then there's the argument: should you take Willie Cauley-Stein because he's going to be a defensive presence. He may have no offensive skill, but he's going to be a stalwart defensive presence. Do you do that when the other 2 bigs are gone?
I think at this point, the best case scenario is that Philly drafts Moutier because I heard they like him a lot, and we get D'Angelo Russell.
I feel like there's a decent chance Philly drafts him because they'll be like, hey, maybe if he's in China, he won't be back here for a year.
Right.
Somehow they'll find a way for Moutier not to play in the NBA next year. And they seem to also like unknown. And the guy's supposed to have like he has like the problem with Russell is they say Russell is like not a good defender. So he's one of these athletic guards. Who's great.
He's not a good defender?
I thought is Russell supposed to be a good defender? I thought Moutier was supposed to be the better defender.
I don't know. If Moutier is the better defender, then I want Moutier. I'm sick of these only offensive guys on the team.
I kind of want Winslow. I feel like Winslow might be the better guy to get. A little bit safer, but like he's also, I think he's the guy you don't appreciate as much because he plays defense. He's known for his defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They say Moutier is better. He has better lateral quickness, but he's not like a good shooter right now. But you could teach him to shoot.
Right.
Apparently, both Winslow and Moutier can't shoot from the free throw line.
Great.
Because that must be tough. Because when you take free throws, guys are guarding you, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, last email is from Johnny. He first wrote an email explaining that the Knicks should draft D'Angelo Russell. If you not draft him, the future will make you regret it. He's the next big thing in the basketball in the near future. And I guess the second email came after the draft lottery happened because he wrote, Jesus Christ, even your effing odds suck. Anyway, the draft tables have turned on y'all bitch asses. Therefore, a swift reassessment is necessary. Number 1, you guys either draft Moutier or trade the goddamn pick. If you decide to trade, I have an interesting proposal. You could hype up and bait the number 4 pick to Indiana Pacers, who have a weakening relationship with their starting point guard George Hill and would desperately want a new fresh face at point guard. George Hill is no slouch. He's a 29-year-old vet. He can get a firm hold on the backcourt. Attach Jose Calderon's contract to the 4th pick and ask for George Hill along with their 11th and 43rd pick. You will draft Frank the Tank Kaminsky at 11th and your 43rd pick, Cliff Alexander, Rakeem Christmas, preferably Cliff Alexander if he's available. You look like a genius and be revered if you can make it happen.
That's an interesting trade proposal. If it happens, I'm not doing the show anymore. I'm just done. I'm done with the Knicks. I'm absolutely done with the Knicks. I get if you trade the pick to say Orlando and you get something for trading it to Orlando, like swapping one pick. That's as far as I trade down.
Frank Kaminsky might be fun. I think George Hill is a slouch.
I think George Hill is he's a decent point guard. I wouldn't mind having him, but come on.
Like barely, maybe not even top 15.
I mean, that team was lucky. We're lucky to get the 8th seed next year. I mean, obviously we'll get some free agents, but that looks terrible.
Yeah, I don't really like that.
I feel like the nice thing about this draft, and I mean, maybe every draft seems deep at the time, but this does seem deep for the first 5 picks.
It does. I feel like even if you have 6 through 11, there's good players out there.
I've heard Porzingis might go as high as 3rd. according to rumors. I think you're getting the you're hyping him up. Everyone's catching on to the Porzingis thing.
How funny would it be if we drafted Porzingis?
Oh God, that's who I think we're going to draft because he's like the new French dude for us.
Yeah, the new Frederick Weiss.
He's the new Weiss. We're going to draft him, and people are like, one day he might be as good as Bargs is. I was reading something about something, and they were saying you should get so and so because he'll be good next to Bargs, and I was like, wait, who says Bargs is going to be on the team next year?
Yeah,
Haven't we cut ties already?
Shut up.
Okay, so we got iTunes reviews.
Yes. Hold on 1 second. iTunes reviews.
Before we go into reviews real quick, you know what I've noticed in the show?
Mm-hmm.
Is that every week we comment on the playoffs and we say what's going to happen, and we're completely wrong, I've noticed.
Every time.
Every time. We said, last time I think we said the Bulls looked like they were actually going to like challenge Cleveland and maybe beat them. Didn't happen. We said Golden State looked like they were gonna lose. They didn't happen. Everything we're saying is wrong, basically.
Well,
Have you not noticed that we're getting every round wrong completely?
We only know about the Knicks.
Yeah, we literally. I'm predicting this. I'm predicting Cleveland will steamroll the Hawks.
Yeah, they're gonna win in 4.
They're going to win in 4. There's no way LeBron's going home and not making it to the finals. I want to predict this so we can continue our streak of being wrong.
JR is going to average 30 points a game on 75% shooting the rest of the way.
LeBron is going to continue to be a fan favorite. Shumpert will not embarrass himself the rest of the series.
He'll definitely not injure himself either.
Definitely not injure himself. Okay, we're back. Okay, iTunes reviews.
Please leave iTunes
Ron,
reviews. It helps the show immensely.
Immensely. Since the last show, we got a bunch of iTunes reviews, and since that time, Jay is now a billionaire. Mm-hmm. This is by Galalamad. I'm writing this review because the hosts guilt tripped me into it. Good show, though. 5 stars. This is by Willis Reed's Bad Leg. 5 stars. The Definitive Knicks podcast. Come here for the tentative optimism when we're winning and the self-deprecating humor when we're losing. I didn't know there was time when we were winning.
Yeah.
The best NBA team podcast on the interwebs. Thank you.
Wow.
This is great stuff by Steve NYC 1989. 5 stars. Mark and Jay are great best Knicks podcasts out there.
Thank you.
This is by 4 stars, not 5. By No War Velvet Smooth.
You son of a bitch. No, just kidding.
SMH. I've been listening to these guys' podcasts for about 2 or 3 years now. As a Knicks fan, it is an essential. These guys are sometimes awkward, sometimes self-loathing, but always hilarious, always entertaining.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is by D.A. Pedophile.
Well, we really did get a lot.
Yeah, no. D.A. Pedophile, 5 stars, definitely better than the Alan Hahn podcast. Because the Alan Hahn podcast is what you tune in for. I don't know. I mean, you don't really know if this is a good pick or not. You don't know what Phil Jackson's thinking.
We also have way more positive reviews than Alan Hahn's podcast, which is awesome.
Yes, that is actually awesome. I wrote this review because they said they would read all the reviews on the show live. On a real note, this show is pretty funny, and they have a realness, no holding back attitude, which I enjoy. Recommend to all Knicks fans. Update: the show is still pretty good, funny as always. P.S. I hate my iTunes name. It was a stupid college drunken dare, and now I'm stuck with it. SMFH.
Nice.
Shaking my forehead.
Yeah.
P.S. I called it here. 2015-16 Knicks will surprise the world.
By being even worse than last season.
No one thought they could only win 1 game and give the number 1 pick to who gets the number 1 pick this year? Is it Toronto or Denver?
I think they get to choose. Like one of them has like a swap option for who's worse or something like that.
Oh fuck. And this is the last review is by Nords. 5 stars. The review is titled Review. And it says, at NY Knicks podcast. Last podcasts are the reasons why I listen to you guys, whether it's a half hour, whether it's an hour, 30 minutes, or a 2-hour episode. It's all worth listen during a hectic NYC commute. I literally LOL, that's laughed out loud, Mark, on the train during your ESPN Insider Sir Insider gag. Keep doing what you guys do guys, and buy a T-shirt, listeners, or else Jay will be on the next episode of Hoarders with the T-shirts scattered around his apartment. Deuces.
Thank you very much, everyone. We actually got 3 T-shirt orders this week, so that was awesome.
Hell yeah.
So now I only have like 75 shirts left.
That was a great idea, making these T-shirts. I love how it took you, like, you were working on the T-shirts for like an entire season. You kept talking about them. And fine, we have it settled, and people are going to buy them, and now they just sit in your place.
Mm-hmm. And as I say this, we say the reviews help, but just to show proof, we were about 240th in the sports podcasts before the reviews.
Yeah.
We moved up to 66th.
Whoa. That actually is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump for 1 week.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah. So
if everyone could write 2 reviews this week, how high could we get?
Seriously, if we get a bunch of reviews this week, we'll probably move into the top 20. So
make up another iTunes account and write a review. Come on, work on that, guys. Twitter? Oh, wait, or Pinterest?
We don't have a Pinterest.
We don't have any questions on Pinterest?
No.
Mark, why do you think this joke is funny every week? I do. Any questions off of what else is there? Pictionary?
We have Instagram.
Oh, Instagram, yeah.
Let me log in. I'm in the Brink Instagram. We're NY Knicks Podcast on Instagram.
Why would you be in the Brink one?
Because I post to both, and it's whatever I turn.
During the show, you post to both?
No, I wasn't screwing around on my phone. I was on the Brink one earlier today, posting hilarious stuff.
I'm sure. Look, this cloud looks like a penis. Brink of sanity.
I'm trying to manage all these accounts. It's not the easiest. So we are NY Knicks Podcast on Instagram. Yep, we are.
Cool.
We have a long password, so I had to stall. I was typing in the password. You've never been on Instagram, huh?
I think my wife has one. We post some pictures of our kids.
Gotcha. I posted a picture of me at a Knicks game a few years ago, and one guy wrote, "Who is that fat F?" in the picture. I was heavier a few years ago. I posted another picture, and it said, I went to the Tim Hardaway Instagram and told him, F you, and I hope this pic replaces his F and S for making meaningless shots. Mark and Jay play the Clacton. So we did do that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. Depressing, but the draft is not science, so maybe the 4th pick turns out better than the 1st pick. Still got to wait and see what happens with free agents before I get too sad.
You never know. We got
How you gonna know?
A broken Mello. You got the number 4 pick in the draft, and you got some mediocre free agents that are going to get max money from us. How could it not work out?
And then I posted a picture of me and my girlfriend at the Knicks game. I said, yay, Jay's Asian girlfriend. The rest of the comments are on the Brink, so we'll read those during our Brink of Sanity podcast.
Twitter?
Twitter.
Are you on the Brink Twitter?
No, I'm not. I actually was when we first called, but I switched.
Are you on your failed brunch endeavor Twitter?
It was the brunch thing actually.
Jay had a brunch blog going for a little while.
We were called the Brunchaholics, and that was actually getting very popular. It's the people in the group that failed.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it's another endeavor that I was part of a failure. Let's see. Trent writes, I know for one thing, Rose is happy now that he doesn't have to play.
Yes.
Let's see. Jason writes, if we get the 5 pick, trade down for 2. I like the idea of Winslow and Cauley Stein. There's probably a team with 2 picks. I don't. I mean, I know we have the 4, but would you trade the 4 for 2 lower picks?
Those picks were like the 5 and the 6. I would trade for the 5 and another pick within the first round.
Yeah. You know, the question is, where's the link that I can buy a T-shirt? This is actually a real message. I'm not just throwing that in there. The New York Knicks podcast.
It's like message after message of like, where can I buy a T-shirt? Wow, the T-shirt changed my life. Ever since I had the T-shirt, girls love me. Wow, this T-shirt's made. I got a promotion at work when I wore the T-shirt to work.
The New York Knicks podcast.com is our website. There's a link on there. Greg writes, recording new episode? Yes. The first time I heard you guys, I thought of Beavis and Butthead. Who is Beavis? Who's Butthead? I would say for this show, you're Beavis, and for Brink, I am Beavis.
Great. Go on.
Brendan writes, free agents by each position for our 15-16
The first time I thought I listened to your show, I thought about Abbott Costello. Who's Costello? Go on.
No, seriously, I have no idea who Costello is. Jay should answer, considering he's the only one answering the questions.
Ooh, shot at me. Probably true. Go on.
Burned.
Yeah.
We will be doing an extensive free agency podcast very soon.
Extensive.
Yes. Let's see.
We will talk about all the players that make sense to the Knicks, and then talk about who the Knicks will actually sign.
Tom Wainwright writes, "We're UK news. We're 5 hours ahead here, and I can confirm the Knicks are picking first." That was some false intel. And then we got a ton of angry tweets.
Shouldn't we get like some like you have the worst record in your franchise's history? Couldn't the NBA just hook us up with like the 3rd pick?
Seriously. Chris Mendoza writes they're going to pick Darko's son.
Probably.
Strong Legacy writes, I'm sure you know the meaning of SMH now.
Yes.
Neil writes, he's at 3 Dog Radio. Lakers getting 2 is shady as hell.
Yeah, the most profitable franchise in the NBA got the number 2 pick.
Yeah, I agree. That's a little shady.
At the end of Kobe's, they're the only team that changed places.
Yep.
Well,
they're the only team that moved up.
I get the Knicks like they're a big franchise. The NBA should want them to do well, but I feel like the NBA doesn't care that much about the Knicks.
Yep.
I feel like the NBA is like, Knicks fans will still watch, so we don't care. We have to worry about the smaller teams. Like, we want Minnesota to be good because that helps us more than the Knicks being good.
I feel like the Knicks being good would help the league. It's just, they're just so inept.
I'm just saying it's us against the world, Jay.
Keith writes, my heart is heavy. Neil writes, I'm so depressed right now. I guess the basketball gods really hate us.
Yes, they do. They actually really hate us.
Trent writes, well, Cauley Stein or Winslow then. I'm not sold on Cauley Stein. I think Cauley Stein's going to be a good rotation player. I don't think he's going to be a guy you want with the top 5 pick.
I mean, Cauley Stein looks like you're getting who's the guy that used to be on Houston? The defensive center.
Oh, Asik?
Yeah, you're getting a Asik type player, a guy that's really not going to be very helpful on offense, but a solid defender. Could be a very helpful guy to get.
Yeah, but not with a top 5 pick.
Yeah, you may not just want to. You may be able to find that in like free agency. You may not want to. Whatever. This sucks. This really, really sucks.
Market Shot writes, we all know Jay wanted Porzingis since he saw that 10-minute video of him once. Now dreams can come true.
Yes. It's kind of like it's kind of like you're a little kid and you're like, what I want more than anything is NBA 2K Dad, can you get it for me? Yes, I will get it for you. If you get all straight A's, you do what you're supposed to do, we will get it for you. And you're like, Dad, I got all straight A's. And he's like, great. I bought a used copy. It doesn't really work that well, but here you go.
Right. Raymond writes, with no pick next season, we're already a promising start to another bad year. Nero writes, I'm sure the Nuggets or Raptors will be happy with our pick next year.
Yeah. I mean, the team we should be able to get the 8th seed next year. I don't know if that's going to be a success, but.
I know. Yeah, I'm real excited for that. Scott writes, we're going to get somebody 2 years away from being 2 years away. Let's see. He also writes, Ronaldo Bachman's not walking through that door. Nick writes, maybe in 7 years they'll put together a nice run to the second round of the playoffs. There's a lot of funny messages today.
I mean, I'm really excited we brought on Phil. I mean, so far it's worked out really. I mean, I know Phil, the free agency and all that. I know it's not his fault we drafted 4, but I mean, I feel like it's his fault we won those extra games. Phil could have just said, hey guys, halftime, you guys look kind of in the game. Remember Derek Fisher, I know where your kids live.
Neil writes, so upset, can't watch basketball right now. Lee writes, Mark and Jay, it's time. Porzingis sanity.
Porzingis sanity. Apparently he's a stretch 4.
Trent writes, the Knicks have reached total retard. Why win the last couple games? Why they F themselves like they always do?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, we really we go out of our way to screw ourselves. I mean, winning those games were like the dumbest things you could have ever done. And I get all those guys on the team were like, well, I don't really care about the Knicks because I'm just trying to play for a job. But some of them, like their job was going to be on the Knicks next year.
Right.
Like Derek Fisher, his job was supposed to be on the Knicks. Don't you want a better player?
Yeah, I don't get it. Brendan writes, do you think Melo could coexist with any offseason acquisitions?
Why is the NBA obsessed with this lottery thing? Like, what is it? Like, no other sport gets obsessed with like tanking the way the NBA does. Tanking still happens. We just have this dumb lottery system.
You know, the very first lottery, every team in the lottery had the same exact chance of getting the number 1 pick. Isn't that a much better way to do it?
No.
Why?
Just give it based on their records, or have a tournament that I said. The tournament.
No, if you do it based on the records, it's the same situation as it is now. That changes absolutely nothing.
Who gives a crap? Let teams tank to get like the best players.
Every team has the same chance of winning.
Does it really help anyone if the Knicks and the Lakers, with terrible records, are playing a competitive game in Game 80 of the season? Wouldn't it be more fun if we were just trying to blow stuff? It gives you something to root for at the end of the year.
No.
No one gives a crap if bad teams are playing their heart out at the end of the season.
Yeah, but it makes I don't know. You don't have teams tanking from like game 45 on.
Who cares?
Tell us what you guys think. I think it's better if every team has the same chance of winning.
I think it's better if the Knicks have all the ping pong balls.
Well, yeah. Brendan writes, do you think Melo could coexist with any offseason acquisitions?
Yeah. Well, I think if we get a guard, he should be able to like coexist. I mean, the only guy I'm really concerned about in the draft would be Okafor. Not the only guy in the draft, but I feel like Towns would have coexisted well with him. I feel like any of these point guards should be able to coexist with him, and Winslow would be a nice compliment, being like Winslow would play more of the 3.
Basically anybody except a 4.
Yeah, basically. And Okafor, I mean, I'm sure they can figure out a way to make it work. It's just I worry the fact that he's not known for his defense also.
Brendan Proud, who would you like the Knicks to draft at the pick 4?
People act like Melo's like impossible to play with. I don't understand. When he played the Olympics, people weren't like, how can we play with this guy?
Yeah, I feel like he plays selfish when his teammates suck.
Yeah, and his teammates always suck. I didn't like the argument like Chris Paul's a great player, but like the argument Chris Paul, like he's had just as hard as Melo because he hasn't played with 5 amazing players with him. Melo plays with no one every season. Yeah. He's got it tough. I mean, whatever you want to say about Melo, he's got. There's no one playing with him. True. His best player for many years best teammate was JR.
Oof. Yeah, that's gross.
That, and he had his actual best teammate he's ever had was an over-the-hill Chauncey Billups.
Who would you like the Knicks to draft at 4? Can Mark even name 5 of the potential draftees?
I've already named 5 in this episode. Screw you. I can't name 6 probably.
I mean, Russell or Moutier, whoever's left.
I like Winslow, but go on.
I mean, I still feel like Moutier is a real wild card.
Well, they're going to have like pre-draft workouts. We're going to know more about these players prior to the actual draft, right?
I would hope so, yeah.
It's not like they're going to say there is going to be some kind of like the teams are going to work out their picks. The Knicks are going to get a chance to see Moutier play for them.
Do you think the Knicks will actually go through with that, or they'll just be like, no, we know?
Tell me, Moutier, what do you know about triangles? I could be an elite point guard. What do you know about triangles?
I would be an isosceles. You're hired.
I mean, what's a more important question that Knicks fans everyone's asking? Is this guy going to be a good complement? Can this guy play with Melo, or can this guy be a good player in the triangle? What's a more important question?
A shit. Are you a good player? You're drafted.
The whole triangle thing. Maybe we can move past the triangle a bit. Maybe we can play with a hybrid triangle and by hybrid I mean if guys are standing in any form, like if one guy's in front of 2 guys, we can call it a triangle and like move on. Like just forget about the stupid triangle already.
Yep.
I know we were excited about it, but it just seems like it confuses players. No one's copying it for a reason. And until you have Michael Jordan or like Kobe in the system, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that great of an idea.
J Money John writes, what to expect this summer with the available cap space and draft pick? Any possible trades for the 4th overall pick? I read that the Knicks could possibly trade the 4th pick for Ty Lawson and Denver's first-round pick.
What pick is Denver?
I think 11.
No.
You want to think about that for a second?
No.
Yeah. Ty Lawson has 2 bad ankles. He's undersized, not great on defense. I would rather not have him.
Right. I mean,
I also heard he has a shitty attitude.
The same way I wouldn't mind him like George Hill. I'm not exactly trading our pick to get him.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty sure if it was Ty Lawson in the draft, or Justice Winslow, I would just take Winslow.
As we did this podcast, the Warriors just beat the Rockets.
That's exciting.
Our boy David Lee played 0 minutes.
It's going to be Warriors Cleveland. We're predicting it now, and we're never wrong.
But ex-Knicks Corey Brewer and Prigioni did play.
How'd they do?
And Trevor Ariza.
Knicks are in the playoffs.
Ariza had a decent game. Brewer had a terrible game. And Prigioni had a not great game either.
Oh, I'm glad we cut Brewer without giving him any chance. And Priggs sucks also. Screw him.
Priggs was huge last game.
Priggs only tried really hard and was effective when he played for us. Screw him.
Yeah.
Do we have more Twitter thing, or can we go to our 80 questions on Facebook? We're an hour and a half into the show, and now we have Facebook.
I know. We have like 50 questions. We just hit the hour mark. We have one more Twitter question. Hingle McCringle writes, what's your all ex-Knicks starting 5 from these playoffs?
Ooh. At point guard. I don't think there's a better point guard than Priggs.
Got to go with Priggs.
Okay. Our starting shooting guard would be. I wouldn't mind Ariza.
I would, yeah.
But I would take what's his name? Who I just said.
Corey Brewer?
Brewer, yeah.
I would go to Ariza.
Okay. Forwards.
Well, we're not going. Are we going all time? Because then we're going David Lee.
Yeah, we're going all time. David Lee. I'm not taking Shump or JR, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Shump isn't playing too bad. I would never take JR. With center, I would go Mozgov.
I would actually. It was like I would like. Oh, I'll take the guy in the wheelchair over Jr. I hate you, Jr. I'll take Rihanna on my team over you.
Would you go Mozgov at center?
I don't know how you can't. Like, who else would you go?
He's been playing really well.
No, he has been playing well. And also, like, who else is there another center from the Knicks in the playoffs?
I mean, you can't really count Nene, right? Because we traded him on draft day.
I mean, yes, you could if you're counting Brewer.
I would still take Mozgov. Nene did not look good these playoffs.
No, he seems like he's a little over the hill. I would take Maz. You have David Lee at power, and who's our small forward?
Yeah, that's the only position we need to fill.
Is it going to be Shump?
I'd rather not pick Shump, but it might have to be Shump.
I mean, we're probably forgetting a bunch of players. Oh, the point guard could be what's his name? The guy that we promised the 2-point guard lineup and never happened for.
Udry?
Yeah, it could be Udry. But I like Priggs better.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have anybody from? Oh, Zach Randolph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one. We should probably have Zach Randolph and Matt Barnes.
I'm going to take Randolph. I'll take Randolph at power forward, Maz at center, David Lee at small forward. No, that doesn't make sense there at all.
Maybe you have to bump Lee and take Barnes at the 3.
Sure, we're forgetting some players. Crawford at the 2.
Oh, do we want Tyson Chandler at the center? Probably wanted Tyson Chandler at center.
You mean the best center we've had since Ewing? Sure.
Yeah, we should probably do that. Yeah, maybe Jamal Crawford at the 2.
Yeah.
Maybe Crawford at the 2 and
maybe we should have made a list.
Crawford at the 2 and Ariza at the 3. So there you go. Prigioni, Crawford, Ariza, Randolph, and Chandler.
Not bad. Sean writes, "Can I post my reaction, guys?"
That was the one I played earlier.
Okay. William writes, "It's funny. That would be cool. If it's funny, it would be cool." We'll move on from that. Rosario writes, "We have 10 open roster spots, and we have half the Knicks players playing in the NBA playoffs. Phil, stop acting like the coolest guy in the room and get to work." And effing get to work. Yeah, we have a roster to fill. I mean, so far we're gonna hopefully we'll have Galloway, Shved, Mello. I guess Calderon, because we're probably gonna have him on the team. Timmy. We got a lot to add here.
A lot of new guys.
Every year it's a lot of new guys. Have you noticed that? Every year we've done the podcast, the roster turns over by half.
We said that like 3 years ago, how it's annoying that we have 8 new guys every season and nothing's changed.
There's no continuity, whatever. There's none. It's always an entire, like half the team is completely new every year. It's like we spent all our money on like 1 or 2 players and can't afford anyone else.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first year there's no Amari. There's no... Do you want Amari on power forward?
Screw you.
Yeah. There's no Amari contract. We have lots of money to spend. Of course, next season we won't. We spend it all this year and poorly. Steven writes, "I'm going to go back and listen to all the New York Knicks episodes. Am I insane?"
That's a lot of hearing our voices.
I don't like hearing my own voice in like bits and pieces.
I mean, I like watching our download count go up. So yes, that's awesome.
Do it and tell all your friends to do it. Make it popular. Make it like the hip thing to do. Rosario writes, and he...
It's Rosario,
whatever. Rosario writes, he gave like his comments from...
Right, if there's a lot of back and forths, we don't need to read all the back and forths.
Yeah, he had some conversation. Everyone's pissed off about the Knicks. George writes, and he got a bunch of likes for that conversation.
No. The comments is the comment section on Hardaway Jr.'s Instagram.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay. It's pretty. Is that Hardaway Jr.?
No, these are people talking to Hardaway Jr.
Oh, okay. It's exactly you dumbass players, especially you wanting to win games in the end, knowing you're going to return next season made no sense. WTF, you're trying to win games for now, we're fucked. Not all your fault. Don't want to come out like that, but you sure did want to win games the final week. Everyone blamed Fisher as well, dumbass coach. I mean, I guess it comes down to it's not so much that you tried so hard in the last week of the season; it's that you sucked for the rest of the season,
games,
and then you only tried hard when it came when it hurt us the most.
Exactly.
It's like you were doing your dad's duty. It's like he's the Mandarin candidate, the Manchurian candidate, basically.
Yep.
Winning those games just fucked up the whole future of the franchise. Thanks, bro. He gets all these messages like, oh, great. Thanks for trying to win meaningless games for nothing. Now chuck all the fucking threes you want next year, SMH. I'm pissed we fell out of the top 3, but I'm not going to flame you. Everyone else is doing that for me. Yeah, it's got to really like...
It was true, though. He sucked for 75 games.
He was terrible. He had a couple good games the entire season, and he chose them to be the end of the... And he's going to be here. It's so ridiculous.
I know.
George writes, with an indication on the position we will draft, which player should the Knicks aggressively pursue in free agency now? With an indication on the position?
Yeah, I think some of these are like phone autocorrects that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're getting a guard here, or at best a small forward. So we pretty much have to pursue a big.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it going to be our man from Detroit?
Let's move on.
Are there any other bigs that make sense?
No.
Are there any bigs that make sense? Sorry.
Well, I mean, the bigs that make sense aren't coming. We're not.
Well, no, I know Gasol's not coming. I'm saying, are there any mediocre bigs?
We're not getting Aldridge. If we could get in a Sheik, I'd be fine with that.
Who's that guy that pretty good defensive center on Dallas? You think we can get that guy? I think he was in the Bulls previously.
Oh, Tyson Chandler?
Yeah, you think maybe we can get him?
Alexis Ajinka is available.
I'm sure he is. Who's that?
He is a defensive center.
We can use him. Michael writes, 4th pick isn't bad. It's a 4-player draft. Granted, the Knicks are the only team that fell back, but knowing the Knicks, we should be happy it wasn't to 5. Draft Moutier. No more opposing point guard averaging 40 points a game against the Knicks.
Yeah, Moutier is supposed to have good defense, right? So let's do that.
Yeah, I would love it if we can just stop any guard from penetrating. That'd be amazing. Gillum writes, according to Chad Ford, Pistons, Knicks, Hornets, and Magic will consider trading the pick. The most realistic trade I could come up with for the Knicks to get the pick is this. Knicks get Pistons' 8th pick and Josh Smith's contract. That goes against the cap still. 2 years, $14 million a season. Pistons get Calderon Hardaway if they fancy him too. Not sure if Pistons would do it, but would you do it? At 8th, one of the Cauley-Stein, Porzingis, Winslow, or Hezonja, I don't know how to pronounce his name, will still be available. Why are we doing this?
To get rid of Calderon's contract and Jarrett and Hardaway because he sucks.
I'm not trading the pick so we can move Calderon's contract.
And to pay Josh Smith $7 million a year for $14 million a year for 2 years to play for Houston.
Wait, what would be I don't understand what's the point of this. It's like, would you trade him to the Pistons to make the situation worse for us? There's no benefit. I don't understand. You're not giving us anything back. We're literally getting just a worse situation.
I think he's saying we'll get still a decent player and get rid of 2 bad contracts.
But we're getting a bad contract for him.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't even make it his contract is I think we owe Calderon $9 million, and we owe Josh Smith $7.
No. Josh.
Oh,
Smith,
$14 million a year. Yeah, so it would actually be a worse. It would take on a worse contract.
Yeah, I mean, Pistons might do that without the Josh Smith part. Just give us the 8th for the 4th.
Okay. We're listen. Steve Mills, I have a contract. I have a great trade proposal. See if you can get the fill. We give you the 8th pick. You give us the 4th pick. Higher numbers are better than lower numbers. You win. Sounds good. I'll check with Phil.
But they take on Calderon's contract.
I don't understand. Calderon has 1 more year left, and Josh Smith has 2 more years, and Josh Smith is being paid more.
No, I'm just saying, if you remove the Josh Smith part, it might make sense.
Okay, so the Josh Smith part sounded completely insane. If you remove it still sounds like it's terrible.
It's not great, but it's better if you remove the Josh Smith part.
What are we using the money for?
To give more money to Greg Monroe.
If we do any kind of like we're trading the pick to, I mean, how mad would you be if we trade a draft pick so we can move a contract we should never have gotten in the first place?
Wouldn't be the first time we've done it this season. All right, keep moving.
Okay, Gillum writes, are you in favor of having the top 16 teams in the league playing in the playoffs, despite that it would put the Knicks further away from the playoffs?
Yes. I hate seeing teams 8 games under 500 make it, while 50-win teams don't.
I like having divisions and conferences, so I'm against it.
All right.
You also play an unbalanced you play an unbalanced schedule. It creates it destroys rivalries because then you have to go to a balanced schedule and then you don't play anyone more than anyone else.
Yeah, but the West teams have a better record and they play a harder schedule, so it's not like
I get they're better.
The
balance will change though. At some point, the East will be better. I kind of just like it this way
it's
better.
been like 15 years.
I still like East basketball versus West basketball. I like there being a difference to it. I like the fact that the Knicks play, say, the Nets a lot more during the year.
They don't have to change the schedule.
But then if you don't change the schedule, it becomes even more unfair because some teams have an easier path to the better records.
Hasn't seemed to have affected all the East's terrible records.
It's true. I still don't like it. Whatever. I'm a traditionalist here, and you're a jerk.
It's not like the 15 straight years is a small sample size.
In the history of time, it is. Gillum writes, would you fire Fisher to get Scotty Brooks or Monty Williams?
I heard Scott Brooks wasn't a very good coach.
Yeah, I mean, OKC got rid of him, so I'm not sure if we really want him.
I'd say no.
OKC had good players, and they got rid of him.
Yeah.
I'd fire him to get Thibodeau.
Sure.
What about Monty Williams?
I don't know enough about him, really.
Okay. Rosario writes, Tim Hardaway's Instagram comment section. I guess we already got that.
Yep.
George writes, don't worry, I only have 40 more questions. Okafor will ask the Timberwolves not to draft him. He prefers the Lakers. Have you ever heard of this ever happening before? Ever?
Only with Kobe or Eli Manning.
Did he ask Charlotte not to draft him? Or
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He said the only team he'll sign with is the Lakers.
Oh, I didn't realize Kobe said that.
Yep.
No, I mean, he turned out to be a really good guy. So
Eli Manning did it too.
I wrote on Twitter that I feel like no offense to the Lakers, but I feel like Kobe just did his Colorado style. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I had someone on Twitter didn't understand what Colorado style meant.
Well, they're not familiar with alleged rapes.
George writes, if you see the video of the draft, once the ball all fell position, did you guys see Okafor's face expression? It was like, oh, fuck.
No, I didn't actually see that.
Did you see that Derek, Byron Scott winked?
Yeah.
That looked a little weird. George said, Jay, how did your finals go? Feel like you passed?
I think I passed. How much I passed, we'll find out. Update next episode.
Sweet.
I think I did pass, though.
George writes, who do we draft now? Winslow, Moutier, or Jay's fave, Porzingis? I mean, there's a chance that it could be Russell still, obviously.
Right. I would say my order would be Russell, Moutier, Porzingis, Winslow.
Really are hating on Winslow, huh?
No, I think it's a deep draft.
Yeah, they all look pretty good. I mean, I guess any of these guys will be. I mean, who knows? I mean, you don't know, Jay. You don't really know how good these guys are.
How you
We
gonna
have to
know?
judge the draft 10 years from now.
How can you tell?
And how can you tell? Steve writes, do we have to talk current? Let's talk about the next Knicks to get a number retired or to get or get MSG to do the permanent Garden Hall of Fame display, missing the Walk of Fame as well. And speaking of guys who'd belong in the Knicks Hall of Fame, why do I see Bulls crap in Oakley's car wash in Yonkers? Love ya, Oak, but do that in a suburban Chi-town location. Hey, I guess I really don't want to talk about the fourth pick.
Yeah, seriously. Oakley was on the Bulls for what, like 2 seasons?
Whatever.
Fill that shit up with Knicks stuff.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do it in Yonkers, then like just do Knicks. What's the next Nick to get his number retired? I believe we'll find out at the draft.
Yeah, seriously. We don't
Whoever-
keep players long enough. There's not one guy we've kept long enough that I would say would deserve his number retired right now.
Yeah, the last guy is going to be someone who's on the team in the 90s.
Yeah, seriously.
Do you think Melo gets his number retired?
He doesn't deserve it yet.
No, he does not. Greg writes, not sure if he's still mad at what. And the picture is Reggie Miller. It's the curse of the Knicks trading Patrick Ewing to the Seattle Supersonics. Smile.
So Reggie Miller's annoying on the air, on the basketball court, on Twitter. He's just annoying everywhere he goes.
Pretty much. Greg writes, I'm with you being upset, but once I came to the realization that we can still get a good player, I calmed down. I mean, there is a little bit of there is a little bit of like, I would love Towns, but there is like, I still think we're going to get a good player.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of pissed about this. Long shot, but we still can get a decent big man, Gasol, and draft Russell or Moutier. Yeah, long shot. Long shot. I might win the lottery this week and not have to go to work next week.
Longshot is my least favorite X-Man.
Is there an X-Men really named Longshot?
Yes.
What's his power? His power, he gets to like come up with scenarios that aren't going to work out.
Almost the opposite. His power is increased luck.
What?
He's the worst. He's so bad.
Increased luck?
And he has a mullet.
So, like, how does this like play out? Like, what happens? What is it like?
Like if you, I don't know, say you shoot at him, he'll luckily like trip as the bullet's coming, and the bullet will miss him.
I was hoping I'd run into you. Yeah, good thing, long shot.
It's just like, everything conveniently works out. It's terrible. He's the worst.
That's like the Onion made an X-Men.
Seriously, and he has a mullet.
Shane writes, thoughts on J.R. Smith? It's making me sick. I agree with you, Shane. It made me sick as well.
He's a dick.
Grant responds, if you read about what JR did in game 1 against the Hawks, you'll be even sicker.
He's a terrible person.
Oh, God. It's just like, and people are like, well, why are you going to hate on him? I mean, like, he's just having success now. It's working out for him. Why do you hate that? Because he didn't give a shit when he was here.
Exactly. He couldn't even show up to the games sober.
I mean, he just like, his performance on Sunday afternoon games was absurd.
If you don't believe us, look at the splits.
Yes, and he just didn't really like. He he was ridiculous basically here. Nils, what's your guy's ideal pick with a number 4 pick? Nils writes, can we make a petition and demand the league change the broken ass system that GMs and reporters think works?
I think they're going to retool the draft. I really do.
I don't understand the point of having everyone have the same odds.
Why?
Like the whole point is to make the bad teams better.
Well, why should you reward somebody for purposely sucking?
But what if they genuinely suck? Look at the Knicks roster; they genuinely suck.
Then they have a chance to get better. And the Knicks generally suck because they made a million bad moves.
Well, so far the current system has given 3 of the last 4 number 4 picks to Cleveland. It looks completely rigged. Every year it's like, hopefully the Knicks. I mean, the NBA writers. I mean, the ping pong balls will go in the favor of the Knicks. It's like they must have a writers' room. The way they have like reality shows have writers.
Does seem like that.
William writes, thoughts on Moutier? I'm hearing the kid could be really good. Larry Brown said he was the best point guard he has seen at his age. Larry Brown, who
I've heard good things about Moutier. Don't trust Larry Brown for anything.
yeah. And this is also the league that Stephen Marbury is still a star in. George writes, I would take Winslow. What would you rather, Marbury or Butler?
I think he meant Moutier Butler.
Moutier, but wait, who's
couldn't
Butler?
have meant Marbury.
Who's Butler?
Jimmy Butler?
Oh, Jimmy Butler. Wait, then, would you rather Moutier or Jimmy Butler? That makes no sense.
Well, neither does Marbury or Butler. All right, let's just move on.
Okay. William writes, as long as we don't draft Porzingis, I'm good. He also writes, all around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races. Going nowhere, and their tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. That is how I felt after the draft.
Do you know what that is?
What is that from? I know it's a song.
Yeah, it's a song.
What song is it?
I'm going to pull it up right now.
All around me are familiar face. Oh, yes. Mad World, whatever.
I'll close with that.
Donnie Darko. William writes, why is Jay's finals more important than the podcast? Get your priorities straight, buddy. Jay, what's going to take you further in life, the podcast or class?
Well, if we keep selling shirts at a clip of one a month.
William writes, as the superstar of the show, what did Mark not carry this franchise podcast on his back when it is needed to? Jay's finals. I did not, and also, I guess it's it says the word as the name carry instead of the word. I love the iPhone corrections where they're just completely not needed. They force you into making things look worse.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't carry the show is if I had a final, Jay would do the show without me, but I didn't do the show without Jay because I know nothing about how to get the show produced.
Mark doesn't have any equipment, no way to record it, and even if he did, he would have no idea how to put it up online.
You're pretty much lucky as a listener that I can figure out Skype every week.
Exactly.
Rosero writes, and in my opinion, Moutier is a complete mystery in terms of talent. Willie Cauley-Stein seems decent, and after Bargs, I don't know about drafting overseas players such as Porzingis.
Well, Moutier is also an overseas.
No, he's just saying he's a complete mystery.
I wasn't impressed with Stein.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's gonna be a good NBA player. I just don't see this is the guy we should draft.
Yeah.
It just screams at me that we're getting Frederick Weiss again with both those guys. But I guess I think we're going to see they're going to work out for the teams. Hopefully the Knicks will be smart if they work out the guys they could actually draft.
Yeah.
They're like, do you want me to show you my defensive skills? We don't play defense here in New York. If you could just draw a triangle, we'll call it a day. Steven writes, how do you guys feel about the Brooklyn Nets?
Hate them.
Yeah. They should just go back to Jersey.
The very next comment says they could go back to the Jersey Swamps.
Yeah, the Swamp Dragons. And Grant says, send them to Staten Island. I like that one. Mm-hmm. Rosero writes, WTF, I did not like Phil Jackson not showing up for the draft unless he was getting some from Jenny Buss. He should have been there. Yeah, why wasn't Phil at the draft?
Maybe he was scouting.
Steven writes, I want to know how you guys feel if the Brooklyn Nets became a dynasty during the latter half of the next 14 years. Let's say they win 5 rings, 3 of them in consecutive years with 7 straight finals appearances. During this time period, the Knicks go back and forth between being a sub-500 team and a plus-500 team, but they never win more than 50 games. They fail to win a championship. How do you feel, Mark and Jay? So how do we feel if the Brooklyn Nets turn into a dynasty?
Oh, we'd feel awesome.
This is, Jay, along the same realistic lines. How do you feel if suddenly you become 2 feet taller?
How would I feel if Longshot became a cool X-Man?
How would you feel if Longshot became a regular guest in the show? I believe Longshot would have to be like by the Brooklyn Nets for this to work out.
That would be the only. That would probably just set us over the edge.
I'm pretty sure the Nets aren't going to be good over the next 14 years, and I'm pretty sure the next 5 years are going to be pretty brutal for the Nets.
Yeah.
They're not heading in a positive direction. So William responds, "That's highly unlikely." Stephen responds, "It's a hypothetical question."
All right,
William
we don't need
writes,
to do
"Super
all the
unrealistic though,
factors.
but you're right." And No War Velvet Smooth goes, "The majority of my activities in those 14 years would be accomplished from a fetal position."
All right, keep going. We're running really long.
Really? No way.
It's also way past my bedtime.
Okay, I gotta get sleep also. No matter what time I go to sleep, my daughter wakes up at 5. Gillum writes, Russell or Moutier, or in other words, if you could sign a free agent, Curry or Westbrook / Wall, who would you like most? Kind of best case scenario for Russell and Moutier after they develop. Who would you sign? I'd sign Curry.
Yeah. Curry, and if you do a draft guy, is the guy who plays better defense between Russell and Moody.
If we're going to do an order, I do Curry, Wall, then Westbrook. Westbrook is too injury prone. No, actually, they're both injury prone, but Wall plays better defense than Westbrook. Gilliam writes, do you like or follow Bill Simmons? Now that he's not going to work anymore for ESPN, will you try to sign him for the podcast?
I love Bill Simmons' writing. I'm not a fan of his podcast. We'll try and get him on the show.
I'm sorry, John, I'm going to veto this. I'm not going to take ESPN's like guess. They're trash. Like if you're not good enough for ESPN, you're certainly not getting on our show. Alex writes, at least you guys won't be asked anymore. Who would you draft, Okafor or Towns?
That is true.
Anvil writes, is it just me that thinks Moutier will be a bust? He's a guy that played less than 20 games, was buried at the end of the bench, and now he's a star. Kind of concerns me.
I've been saying Moutier was going to be a bust up until the beginning of this episode, and if you notice, I conveniently did not mention that this episode. But I've been saying that for about 2 months.
Diago writes, would you trade the 4th pick for Ty Lawson?
No.
Ali writes, now that you guys know we got the 4th pick, how would you build this team in the offseason?
Well, I mean, you still got to see what we pick with the 4th pick. I would still say we draft one of the guards and then try and
sign good players.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. So Ali writes, so we got the 4th pick. Boo-hoo. I'm sick and tired of people bitching and whining about how we have the worst luck. Yes, we could have gotten in the top 3, but we didn't live with it. And now make a move with the 4th pick. Don't trade the pick like a fudging retard. Pick the best talent available, which looks like Moutier, and work on making this team better. Draft Moutier, get Butler or Jordan, get Harris, and work on making this team better. No more quick fixes. I'm done with it. Sorry about the rant, guys. Just annoyed with the trade the pick talk. No matter what we trade for, it's not going to be at equal value. We will get screwed, guaranteed. So might as well get a good player and let him develop.
Yes, keep the pick.
DeMarcus Cousins for the 4th pick?
Sure.
Really?
Trade the pick.
Yeah, I think we should. I think actually, since we got the 4th pick, the Knicks should say, "Screw you, NBA, we're done," and leave.
We won. That was our goal, to get the 4th pick.
So going along with a question we got earlier, if the entire Knicks roster had sex exchange operations and entered WNBA, would you root for the New York Knicks in the WNBA? And would a team led by a female Melo be guaranteed a title?
I don't know. Is he playing 40 games just to make the All-Star game and then quitting?
Grant writes, am I crazy to think that Okafor or Russell may end up at the 4? Nerlens was projected at number 1 and dropped to number 6 only 2 years ago. Porzingis is a possible top 3 after the combine, and so is Russell. The Sixers are a wild card. Hinkie could do anything. He won't take Towns or Okafor with Embiid and Noel on the roster.
It's
possible. I do agree with that part.
There's so many question marks on every single player in this draft, really.
I mean, even if you had Towns, you wouldn't say we have a game changer. We have a guy who could be very good.
Everything is so random. I don't know. I'm so confused.
Liam writes, did James Harden, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook not get draft 4 or lower? I feel good about the pick. I am more worried about what they will do with the pick.
What is all this optimism? You must be a new Knicks fan.
I would say what concerns me more now is the fact that the Knicks could trade. Like, I just love, because the Knicks they have to always leave things open. Are you going to trade? Are you open to trading the pick? Sure, why not? Write a bunch of stories. Liam writes, do you guys want to Phil to trade the pick? Because I don't know.
No.
Liam writes, so Jason's finals are over. Does this mean 2 podcasts a week with a lot of happy face emoticon type things?
This does not mean I graduated. This just means my semester is over. So no.
How close are you to graduation?
365 days.
Wow. Are you off for a while?
I have 1 week off.
Wow. I wish I was working full time and going to school. It sounds awesome. Tell us more about your exams.
The good news is my spring 2016 semester is an absolute joke, so we could probably start going twice a week January of 2016.
Maybe I can force Jay to do some in November. But yeah, we're not going to go twice a week till the season starts.
November, I will
Liam
be
writes,
going to school 5 days a week, literally.
When?
November and December.
Holy crap. Liam writes, fuck, I really hope when you graduate, like this, there's like the whole, I don't know, payoff.
Yeah.
Liam writes, fuck you, J.R. Smith. Grant writes, if you've seen my past posts, you'll see that we're on the same page, bro. Liam writes, I was mad at first, now I'm reconsidering. Yes, they did fuck us like Mark in the strap-on era, but still there are good players such as Justice Winslow, D'Angelo Russell, and Moutier. I have a coworker who still complains about how the Celtics had the worst record the year Duncan got drafted. So,
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's not like there's at least like we know one, like the main guy. It's not like LeBron or a Duncan where you know, like if we get that guy, he's a franchise changer.
True.
Anyway, optimistic that we could still get a decent player, and we got fucked by the NBA. What's new? Okay, what did we learn today, Jay?
We didn't do any of the posts to the actual page.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me? Can't people just post to the damn quiet? Okay. Okay. Nils writes, people are freaking out over Shump and Smith balling tonight. Phil hasn't finished building the team he wants. Maybe when Phil said he was going to build a contender, he just meant on Cleveland. Let's relax and see what Phil can actually does with the cap and pick, and after the year, we can start dissecting him. George writes, please watch Okafor's face when the final 3 picks are revealed. That's what everyone's take.
The link didn't work. Sorry, George. Sean's reaction video, we played that before.
The Jordy writes, put it out there, and this is entirely based on what I've seen thus far, but Phil Jackson, you have no clue. It's hard to say he doesn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of he hasn't done anything so egregious yet. And he inserted a system that meant to get us a high draft pick. It didn't work out. Or didn't do a tank-oriented triangle system. Despite my beliefs that we should have built around Shumpert and Hardaway, I know blasphemy, but to trade Shumpert and Chandler away for F all is just insane. Coupled with the offering of Melo a stupid contract, Knicks are tainted. Solid points. I mean, those things don't look very good.
Yeah.
Then there's a picture of a Kermit the Frog type character with a Knicks uniform sticking a fork in a light socket. In a wall socket.
That's now on our Instagram.
There's a Grant post a picture of Steve Mills with his head down. And Grant posts, "Arr." I wonder what that was in reaction to. Okay, is that all the posts?
There's so many more, but we're gonna have to.
I don't know how to even get down to them. I'm scrolling. I'll see more stories. Can we just do what we learned today?
Yeah.
Okay.
We learned today that the Knicks continued their fortune of being a cursed franchise.
Yes. We learned that we're still likely to get a good player, and you really can't judge a draft because you don't know what's going to happen.
We learned that this wasn't nearly as angry of a podcast as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was totally, completely negative the whole way, but it wasn't as angry as I thought.
Yeah, well, it would have been if we did it was during the actual. If we had a reaction, if you just skipped your damn final, Jay. Come on. It's also kind of like, when you have like a big screaming match with your significant other, and then at the end of it, you're like, I don't think I can really scream anymore.
Yeah.
I don't really have screaming matches actually with my wife at all, but it's just like when you're really angry and you can't be angry anymore.
Yeah, anger only lasts a finite amount of time.
Now, like you're like almost out of energy. You're almost like, this is gonna happen. Of course, going to happen. We'll bend over and take it more, or whatever.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Oh, the other thing we learned is that Jay has lost faith in Porzingis.
I mean, I still think he's going to be good, but I don't know.
Jay, he was going to be your man crush.
I know. He may still be. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will now play you out with Mad World.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces.